My name is Jane. I've been married to my husband David for 11 years now. I've been a housewife all my married life and have raised 2 boys. David works in the construction industry, and most of the days he leaves home early in the morning and comes home late. Detactional, furthermore, even though I thought he was taking a day off, he'd go to the office because of the missing construction deadlines. Therefore, I was the only one to take care of our children. Our 2 sons, Huck and Tom, are 9 and 8 years old. They reached the naughty age period. He says, they are boys and powerful, so it was difficult for me to break them up when they had a fight. One day, when our sons finally went to bed and I was resting, David came home. "You are late again today." "Thanks for what?" "Good job." I spoke to David as usual and prepared his supper. Normally, he would come right over to the dining room table, but today he didn't. Curious, I looked at David and saw that he was bowing his head toward me. I had a bad feeling about the sight of him, but I tried to keep my composure. Out of the blue, "What's going on?" I asked David. David is without lifting his head, and he looked eye down. Then he said, "I'm really sorry. Same that the woman I was having an affair with got pregnant. So please, a divorce." My bad premonition seems to have come true. I'm a little uncomfortable with David's recent behavior. I suspected that maybe he was cheating on me, but I didn't expect that the person with whom he was having an affair was even pregnant. I was surprised by that, but I was not told out of the blue. "What are you going to do about our sons?" How am I supposed to explain this to them when they are still in elementary school? I waited for David's response, but he just looked eye down without saying anything. I kept trying to talk to him after that, but David remained silent and didn't move. I thought it was too late to talk, told him it was late in the day, and that we would talk tomorrow, and quickly went to bed. Then, the next day, it was a public holiday and schools were closed. I made sure the children went outside to play and spoke to David. "Keep about last night's topic. Pregnancy, in essence, means you are cheating on me, right?" "I'm so sorry. I know it's my fault, but now we found out she's pregnant, so I have to marry her. Jane, you are strong. You will be fine without me, right? Now you are a housewife, but I am sure you can work and at the same time take care of your sons well." "What are you talking about? Do you really think I am going to agree to a divorce right now?" "I won't allow you to divorce me. I won't allow you to divorce me and try to remarry yourself and be happy." David was surprised that I refused, as he thought I would immediately agree to a divorce. I probably was also angry that although he said he was sorry with his mouth, it didn't show in his attitude. And what pissed me off was our sons. In fact, my oldest son, Jack, is not my real child, but he belongs to my sister-in-law, Emma. Emma divorced 5 years ago and raised her child alone, but she passed me the children and remarried with another guy because having children would be a disadvantage. At first, he objected that it was impossible, but David and Pauline, instead of being angry with Emma, said it was just fine and I was to raise him. Jack was 4 years old at the time and had a good memory of his mother, and yet it was very rough for him to suddenly find out that I was going to be a mother.
You're not my mom. So people, to where the hell did you put my mom? Give her back.
Jack always complained to me every day. Actually, when I scolded, he went to my in-laws' house on his own, even though he was only 4 years old. We were separated from my in-laws on the property, so it would take me a few dozen seconds to get there. But it wasn't a good idea to go without telling me. And every time Jack went to my parents' in-laws' house, Pauline would get angry with me, and Jack laughed happily at the sight of me. It's as even in that state of affairs. I looked after him the same as my youngest son, Tom. I expected that as the months went by, Jack would come to adore me. On the contrary, however, he did not and still seems to hate me. Then gradually he disturbed not only me, but also Tom as well.
Hey Tom, your mom is a bad person. She took my mom somewhere. How can a child of such a woman play with toys?
He would take toys away from Tom, saying things like that. As stuff I'd taken. I was buying the same thing, but Jack wanted the toy from Tom's side and took it from Tom. David was aware of it, but he didn't get angry with Jack, and all he did was watch TV rather than shouting at the children. It's too noisy. I cannot hear the TV, he said. He was selfishly angry with them. I understand, of course, that you're busy at work, but I always thought that you could help and take care of me a little bit. Just like this situation, there is no way I can take care of Jack and Tom. So I confronted David about taking only our youngest son. He told Tom as a condition of our divorce. If you divorce me, I will only take Tom. Jack was originally your sister's child, right? If I divorce you, he will have nothing to do with me.
If I divorce you, he will have nothing to do with me.
How can you say that? We have lived together for 5 years, and Jack trusts you very much. Moreover, are you saying that you would separate brothers who are close to each other?
Jack trusts me. Both of the sons close to each other. Are you serious to say that? I was indeed taken aback by David's seeming lack of any understanding of his own family environment. What does he see, and how can he say that Jack trusts me? About our sons. I'm not saying all time have to be fair, but they always fight. I would no longer be able to intercede for them when they grow up, even though they are still very powerful.
Anyway, if you divorce me, I'll take Tom with me. If you take Jack, please. I should offset the child support.
Understand.
We've got a deal. That's of all that remains is to file a claim for alimony against David and David's unfaithful partner, Linda. The next day, after seeing my sons off to school, I immediately decided to turn to the lawyer and detective agency. In discussions with the lawyer, David admitted to cheating and was told that I could certainly claim alimony. The lawyer also said that the evidence from the detective agency would determine the amount of the alimony. I went home and steadily prepared for the divorce, while waiting to hear from the detective agency. Well, 2 weeks later, the detective agency informed me that the evidence had been compiled, so my lawyer and I will meet with the person in charge. At Tations, the number of investigations was only 2 times, but the evidence was quickly gathered. Furthermore, it seems that Jack, David and Linda had gone out together. After discussions with David, he agreed that he would take Jack, but I was surprised that he let him meet Linda without telling me. It seems I was mistaken about David's behavior, thinking that he had been working overtime and coming home late all these years. It was somewhat uncomfortable, but I didn't think he had been cheating on me since I came out of the affair. However, thanks to this, I was able to get evidence and divorce in my favor. My lawyer and I discussed the evidence and decided to send a counter-certified letter to Linda. That night, I showed David the evidence from the detective agency and the counterproof prepared by her lawyer.
Because there's evidence that can prove with certainty that you are having an affair. I also had a counter-certified letter sent to the cheating party. Linda, if you sign that you will pay alimony, I will divorce you right now.
Really? It's been quite a while since we talked about divorce, and my partner, Linda, was worried about whether we could really get a divorce. I'm glad to hear that. What do you mean by alimony? Why did you collect evidence even though I honestly told you that I had cheated on you?
Since your son cheated on me, you are the one responsible for the divorce. I think it is your responsibility to pay the alimony.
David seemed to think that if he honestly told me he had cheated on me, that would be enough. What a pity guy, even though he's already grown up. No matter how much I try to explain, he doesn't seem to understand a single thing. If I continue, I thought it would be useless to explain at this rate, so I decided to ask the lawyer to explain again later. A few days later, as I was doing housework as usual, I received a call from an unknown number. These kitchens, it must be David's friend or partner Linda. I picked up the phone and to my surprise, it was Emma.
How are you? Ting, long time, haven't talked with you. David told me and I called you. I heard you guys are getting a divorce. Of course, you will take Jack and look after him, won't you?
It's been a while. Emma, what? Itchins, is it true that we haven't told the children yet, but you heard it from David? I'm sorry, but I had a discussion with David, and it was decided that David would take Jack and look after him.
So that's why Jack was crying. June, I hate to say this, but isn't that terrible? I heard from David that Jack and Tom are close to each other, right? And yet, I can't believe you're separating the two of them.
I was bothered by Emma's selfishness, but I was even more angry at David for lying. Emma, you misunderstood. Jack and Tom fight every day and cannot say they are close to each other. Anyway, if our sons already know about the divorce, I'm going to have to explain it well. Hey, wait! Emma was about to say something, but I hung up the phone without caring, and I waited for our sons to return. A few hours later, when our sons came home, I wanted to explain as soon as possible, but Jack spoke to me first.
Please, take me with you. You knew that, but you went out with David and Linda, didn't you? You looked happy, didn't you? But why don't you want to follow with David? I dislike him. His tone is strong, and everything he has in his clothes smells weird. I get sick when I'm with him.
I wonder if the weird smell is perfume. Most probably, it was the smell of the perfume of Linda. But Jack, you are always mean to Tom, and both of you often get into fights. I can't intercede forever either. And Jack, I thought you didn't like me.
Do you want to go with someone who you don't like, not David?
Same. I want to go with you. Mom, I'm sorry for what I've done, and I promise to be a good boy. I'm begging you.
Jack cried and begged for forgiveness. I was happy that Jack called me mother for the first time.
Take Jack with us. We promise to be good boys. Please.
If my son had told me like this, I have no choice but to agree and say yes. I'm anxious but certainly happy because we had been together for 5 years, and I had always wanted Jack to call me mother someday. I immediately told my lawyer that I wanted to take and look after both of my sons. The lawyer's instructions were to discuss child support as David. Then I talked to David when he came home from work.
I'll take Jack with me after all.
What are you talking about? I've introduced him and he met with Linda, but it makes me difficult situation when you think like that.
I've informed my lawyer about this. Sure, it may be too late to say, but Jack wants to come with me too. Jack is 10 years old, so his intentions are supposed to be respected. Anyway, I'll be talking to my lawyer the day after tomorrow, including an explanation of the anomaly, so you can ask me any questions if you had any at that time. Make sure to tell your cheating partner Linda to come too. David was upset about Jack's matter, but he did not say anything in particular back, and our conversation ended. The day after tomorrow comes. It is the day of the discussion, even though our destination was supposed to be the same. David went out first. He would probably pick up Linda. After confirming that Jack and Tom had gone out to play, I headed to the office alone. When I arrived at the lawyer's office, David and Linda were there first, as expected, already sitting on the sofa as if they were a married couple. This was the first time I saw Linda except in photographs, and I was surprised to see that her belly was fuller than I had imagined. It had only been about a month since David told me Linda was pregnant, but she looks like she will have a baby in a couple of months. I thought David must have been hiding something from me, but I decided not to worry about it and proceeded with the conversation.
As you can see from reading the content proof, I will charge both of you a fee for this affair. Then, I will get custody of my son, and I will also charge the child support to David.
What is content proof? What do you mean by alimony? Why do I have to pay for it? I came here today to hear that you are getting divorced.
Linda apparently had not read the content proof. I was sure a bit weird. I sent them a content-certified letter, but she didn't contact me. Linda was acting as if she didn't believe that she was the one being asked for alimony today.
And you'd have to pay the compensation fees related to your affair with David. Neither David nor Linda seemed to understand the situation, but after the lawyer explained the situation to them, they finally began to understand.
Both David and Linda started to panic now.
Impossible. I cannot pay. I'm pregnant, you understand? I left the company saying I was getting married, but I don't have any savings.
Agreed. It's impossible to pay alimony and child support. I have an idea. Why don't you offset the child support between the child Linda is pregnant with and the 2 children Jack and Tom?
Does David not realize he's making an outrageous statement? I didn't think he understood so little about divorce and alimony.
Why am I supposed to offset child support when it's not my child? And has nothing to do with it.
But if we have to pay alimony and child support, we can't make a living because I expect to have a baby soon, and I won't have enough money to prepare for it.
I am not concerned about that. Anyway, please take responsibility for cheating. The lawyer put out documents regarding alimony and child support and showed them to them. In order to make sure they were paid a fee well, I asked my lawyer to have it notarized. When I saw the amount of money on the form, they were even more surprised, and their faces turned blue.
We cannot pay such an amount. If we had to pay this much every month, we really wouldn't be able to live on it.
Sure, I knew you would say that, but if you don't agree on the alimony and child support, then I'm not divorcing you.
Linda seemed more impatient than David. If David and I don't get a divorce, Linda will be in more trouble. As if to catch up, here comes another person I'm calling, and I'm thinking it's about time for that person to arrive. Excuse me. Why are you here? Of course, I had to explain to my mother-in-law, Pauline, about what David had done. At first, I thought to explain to my mother-in-law, Pauline, about what David had done. At first, I thought Pauline was my enemy because she had told me to take care of Jack. Actually, Pauline was not really healthy and strong. Due to her health concern, she could not take care of a boy physically. She decided to ask me to help and take care of the boy. Pauline was concerned about Jack and came to help him. Later, take care of the boy. I found out that the reason Pauline was angry with me was because she cared about Jack. Pauline had always been a strict person and disliked dishonesty. David has always been respected well by Pauline and has never rebelled against her. So I asked her to help me with this one, and she came today.
David, what have you done? It's normal for her to pay alimony and child support. Don't make any trouble. Do you realize what you've done?
Mom, we are talking in front of Linda. Stop it.
What? The cheating partner, Linda. You've got to be kidding me. I don't give you any permission to enter our house again.
Both David and Linda were completely deflated by the power of Pauline. Linda started crying and apologizing.
Sorry. I agree to pay the fee and I'll sign the document, so please let me free to go home now.
Me too. I promise to pay.
Thanks for the support from Pauline. I was able to get them both to promise to pay me alimony. Of course, David also agreed to pay child support. This settled the matter, and on the way home, Pauline and I picked up my sons and had dinner out with Jack for the first time. After that, David and Linda paid the alimony, but Linda said she had no savings, so Linda's parents apparently settled the money on behalf of Linda. I heard rumors that they got married but kept fighting about money and soon divorced after David cheated on her. on top of that, Linda left the baby with her parents to pay back what she had borrowed money, and she has been working from morning to night. David has lost his trust and reputation from the company because he cheated on his wife twice, and he was sent to a department where people who are being restructured are relegated, so he's getting paid less and poorer. As for me, Jack and I have decided to adopt a special child, and I believe we have become like a real parent and child. As Jack promised, he has grown to be a much better big brother than he was before. We still live in the house where we used to live, and we also go out to eat with Pauline occasionally. I would like to continue to live happily with my sons,